And then here we go again. My definition of MainGaining. So now we can make our own definitions of these words, right? That's where we're at. Involves eating a bit more than you need. But since you only gain a few pounds of muscle a year once you are at an advanced level, you only need to eat in a mini surplus. Then maybe 50 kcal more a day is going to be enough. Oh my god, you can't even track that. Also, there is no chance the guy commenting this is anywhere remotely close to being advanced by any metric. You can gain muscle without gaining much fat with it. The advantage of MainGaining, or perhaps you would call a super lean bulk, so now it's not a lean bulk, it's a super lean bulk, is that you never need to cut. Muscle is far harder to gain than fat is to lose. If you want to do your Thomas the Train engine, little engine that could, and gain 2 pounds of muscle a year on your MainGaining because you want to look aesthetic for the beach and the girls that you look at but don't have the balls to talk to, go ahead, bro. But after those same 3 years, you who MainGains, and your friend who does bulk and cut cycles, who's going to be bulking for most of that time, he's going to look way better than you once he cuts down, and he's going to be way bigger and stronger. Not debatable. Oh, but no. Chest up, shoulders back. Welcome to Revival Fitness, everybody, at your home for gains and brains. And if I sound a little bit gruff right now, guys, I do have a little bit of a cold. However, what we're going to talk about today is something that has been constant on this channel since it started. Me calling out MainGaining. And I guess I'm going to have to keep doing this over and over, guys, because this idea just won't die off. It refuses to stay in the ground. So we're going to have to keep burying it over and over. And I'm happy to do that. But this is going to be an interesting video because a very large channel recently made mention of this. This is on Hamza's channel, and I'm sure some of you are going to comment like the NPCs you are. Oh, you're just a clout chaser, up. Hamza watches this channel, guys. You might not know that. I would reckon to say that he discovered the reality of MainGaining from this channel. I'm going to put up some comments he's left on this channel on the screen, and he has mentioned that my concepts have helped him, specifically the concept of ab anxiety. He mentioned in this one comment that people were calling him too pudgy on the bulk, because he's over 10% body fat, which is vintage online teenage, oh, you're getting too fat, bro, you can't see the shredded abs, bro. That mentality I always talk about. But he recently put up this in his community tab. It says, MainGaining, in semi-quotation marks, which is correct, is a myth that'll keep you small forever, but it sells. Build muscle and lose fat at the same time, appeals to the masses of Jeffries. Bulk. This is roughly the 1-year anniversary of the MainGaining nuke, the 2-hour extravaganza video I made whenever I break down MainGaining. I completely dismantle it from top to bottom, using Greg Doucette as kind of the example. He's the most popular person on the internet fitness space who discusses this now. As far as I can tell, though, he's not the only person who has discussed this idea. It's essentially a pipe dream. It's something that can change based on whoever is being spoken to, so the person talking about it can always take credit for that person's progress, and if they don't make progress, then the person can say, well, you just didn't MainGain the right way. It gives them a perfect cop-out for any situation when somebody followed their exact advice, but they didn't get the results that they were expecting, which is most people. But if we look at Hamza's post here, he uses the classic recomp definition that other people have often cited MainGaining as, until it's not that. So you see here, build muscle and lose fat at the same time. That is a classic recomp, aka roughly maintenance calories. That's what that word means. And one of my cornerstone arguments about MainGaining, guys, is the fact that it's not a real thing like I just said. There are 3 states of eating, or if you want to call it caloric consumption. There's 3 states of that at any given time. Deficit, maintenance, or surplus. That is it. And I've said in my previous videos about this topic, guys, these dudes love to maneuver the goalposts and always change things up. Well, sometimes MainGaining is a lean bulk, but actually it's a recomp. Well, maybe it's even a slight deficit if you're overweight. They always are moving the goalposts, and we're going to see based on these comments, people are parroting the same nonsense that they've been fed. So let's dive into these comments now. You can see my comment there at the top. Only got 1 like, unfortunately. This comment section is brutal. Spoiler alert, it is brutal. It's very bad. We have somebody quoting David Goggins, NNN, whatever. Here's a great one, just like I was talking about. This guy Anthony says, it depends on what is meant by MainGaining. A small calorie surplus will likely slowly add a bit of fat to your frame, but body fat percentage could end up staying relatively similar. Then just introduce the occasional mini cut when needed. So, like I just said, guys, what does he say here? A small surplus, which is bulking. Now, guys, you're not going to keep your body fat percentage the exact same on a bulk, even a so-called lean bulk. Gaining a little bit of body fat, as I've said over and over, is necessary for progress. You guys can look at these pictures of Hamza here he posted on another community post, his progress in the gym. You can see from the second latest picture up to the latest picture, he's gotten bigger, right? Now, he's got more bicep veins and more definition in this picture here, but he's noticeably bigger in this one, especially because he has clothes on. If you want to look like you lift in clothing, guys, okay, especially if you live somewhere whenever there's fall and winter seasons, even just putting on a shirt in the spring and the summertime, you need to actually gain body mass. So let's read the replies to this comment. Consensual Strength says, and I upvoted this, that's called bulking though, intentionally having even a small surplus. That's correct. Even a surplus of 20 to 30, which is not tangible, it's not going to give you any real benefit, but a surplus is a surplus. Even if it's so small that it doesn't warrant you any real results, it is still a surplus. I'm having a hard time, guys, I apologize. And then you see right underneath that, 32 upvotes. That's literally what MainGaining is, bruh. Vintage gaslighting, right? We see it over and over. It's a small surplus, which is a bulk. No, it's MainGaining. Then this guy underneath says, there's no such thing as MainGaining. Correct. People who take low doses of steroids aren't called half natty, are they? Cut, maintain, and bulk. There is no mixture of both. Exactly. Phoenix says, you cannot accurately track a very small surplus less than 100 calories. That is true. I'd say even less than 200 becomes pretty muddy. Literally on accident, you might burn 100 more one day, or incorrectly track. And I've talked about this before too, guys. The labels on the food you buy, they're allowed to have a legal margin of error of 20%. So based on that alone, you cannot take what it says on the label as gospel. Even if you perfectly measure the food and all this stuff, it's not 100% accurate. It simply can't be. And think about things like this too. Say you park your car farther from the gym one day. You have to walk farther. You expend more energy. You have to go up a big flight of steps one day. Expend more energy. You go on a walk with your dog, a longer walk than normal. Expend more energy, right? So these little micro bulks and stuff, people will ask me, hey man, should I increase my surplus by 50? You can't track that, dude. I usually recommend roughly 200 estimated calories, and once again, guys, that's a whole nother topic why calories are sort of misleading. That's for another video, though. But I say roughly 200 is the point either way for a cut or a bulk, where you're going to start seeing any level of tangible results. And then Consensual Strength comes back, this guy's all over it. Then why call it MainGaining when it's been called lean bulking for years? And then this guy says, because you aren't necessarily eating clean. You can eat stuff that isn't healthy. You just control how much you eat. You mean like any method we just talked about? You see how dumb these people are? And then at the bottom, this guy says that's lean bulking. Consensual Strength again with a knockout blow. That's still the same as lean bulking. Lean bulking doesn't mean you only eat clean, it means you have a small surplus. Exactly. And I would encourage you guys to eat clean, meaning mostly like whole foods, not a lot of processed stuff. But that's it. Now let's look at the next comment. Actually, MainGaining doesn't mean you gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. It means the same as a lean bulk. Once again, guys, I get vindicated every time I talk about this. It's the same thing as a lean bulk, where you gain muscle without gaining fat, or gaining as least fat as possible. At least that's what I've been told. Well, you've been told wrong. Let's read the comments underneath this one. Jim Pat says, I was just about to write the same exact thing. MainGaining and lean bulking are more or less the same thing. Same thing parroted by the NPCs. Brap, brap, lean bulking, MainGaining, brap. And then Phoenix is here again. See, he's all over it. The problem is that people constantly refer to different things when they say MainGaining. In this comment section alone, people mention being both in a deficit as MainGaining or in a surplus or maintenance. Like I said, guys, lean bulk is far more accurate and harder to misinterpret. However, lean bulk does not get attached to your brand and sell like MainGaining. That's why these guys don't say it. Now, here's a comment, and this is vintage parroting from Greg Doucette. He says, it's just nonsense cutting and bulking over and over, again when you can remain on a healthy body fat level and MainGain from there. Who does that sound like? It's just stupid that some people can't realize that main gaining or lean bulk is just as sufficient as bulking 10k calorie surplus. What? The only difference is that you can keep only one diet that you can sustain and not changing it every 3 months and being sick one. Again, guys, a lot of these dudes are literally teenagers. They don't know better, but do you see exactly what I'm saying? These dudes parrot this verbatim from Schmucky the Clown and all these other influencers that push the main gaining thing. They just parrot it over and over. And this guy compared a lean bulk to a 10k surplus. I don't know who on earth is able to even consume 10k a day. Maybe a heavyweight IFBB pro. Even then, I think that's a stretch. Again, you see the straw man, as I call it before, the dirty bulk fallacy. Oh, but bulking, you're gonna just eat a ton and get really fat. No, who said you had to do that? Those are your words, not mine. I've never said to eat that much food. That's just stupid. You're fear-mongering about bulking, that's what that is. Here's another comment. Main gaining often refers to lean bulking or a recomp diet. Those are two different things. Both ways are solid if you don't want to gain extra fat or if you want to lose fat while still building a bit of muscle. Most bodybuilding influencers don't really bulk anyway. They stay lean for year-round or lean bulk. Do you guys see this freaking comment? Most bodybuilding influencers don't bulk anyway. After the comma, they stay lean year-round or lean bulk. He just said they don't really bulk. But they do lean bulk. These guys are so gaslit, it's insane, bro. And also, too, bodybuilding influencers, actual bodybuilders, guys, cut and bulk all the time. That's their entire life. They bulk in the off-season, cut in the on-season. It's that simple. He's probably talking about general fitness influencers who call themselves bodybuilders, even though they never have competed and will never compete. That's an aside topic, but you see what I'm saying? They don't really bulk, but they do lean bulk. It's the same thing, dude. Lean bulking is a segment of bulking. That's like saying, oh, they don't really cut, but they do cut slowly. Consensual strength is back. You gotta get on my channel, bro. Maybe you're already here, I don't know. Most influencers are on gear, so they can afford to not bulk. Also, lean bulking is still bulking. It's so obvious. And then this guy, main gaining is a form of lean bulk. Then why call it main gaining if it's just a lean bulk? It's so obvious, guys. The clueless guy says it's pretty common to have multiple words describing the same exact thing. No, only if you're trying to gaslight or manipulate somebody. Here's an interesting one. This guy says, bro, but Jeff Nippard, who is a science-based guy, says that building muscle and losing fat at the same time is possible. It is, but not in most circumstances in any appreciable rate. And you said Jeff is a trustworthy YouTuber, right? IDK, man, sometimes you just call legit things Jeffrey, too. And then this guy says, Jeff Nippard says it's possible, but that it doesn't mean it's optimal. Jeff promotes bulking and cutting over main gaining for most people. That's correct. And this guy says, body recomp works the best for 3 groups of people. Newbies, obese people, and people on roids. I wouldn't say obese because they should just be cutting. This guy says it's 100% possible if you have enough body fat that your body uses as fuel. Hamza probably doesn't realize he himself has done this since why his abs began to show while he was putting on muscle. Lesson learned. This guy isn't a physical therapist nor special. So this guy's going the Athlean X route. Hamza's not a physical therapist. You think physical therapists know how to exercise, bro? Most of them are totally clueless. The reason Hamza's abs have began to show while he's putting on muscle is because, like I've said, the abs are a muscle, guys. A lot of you can probably relate to this right now. You're probably 140 pounds, 150 pounds. What's that, like 70 kg-ish or something for you boys across the pond? Spartan says, what if you're skinny fat? Click my video in the top corner to learn about what to do if you're skinny fat. It is probably not what you've been told. You guys are going to get all lean, and you're still barely, if at all, going to see your abs. Why is that? You don't have big ab muscles. There's nothing to show through even if you get to a low body fat. There's plenty of pictures you guys can find of dudes who are very slim, but they still don't have visible abs, and this is the exact reason. And I have a previous video too called He Quit Main Gaining and Bulked into Abs. You can check that out in the top right corner. I break down how and why that is possible. So this guy thinks that this is a gotcha, but it's not. This guy says main gaining works if you are in a small surplus, once again, and you see the first comment underneath, so a bulk. Most people just end up eating too less when they say they main gain. Because the people they watch tell them not to eat much, because if you can't see your abs, you're fat. And then this same guy, Fauch Genstik, whatever the hell his name is, yes, main gaining is a form of a lean bulk. Just over and over, guys. Then this guy pones him at the bottom. What's the difference between main gaining and a lean bulk? It was my understanding that a caloric surplus is a bulk. Why call it main gaining if it's just a form of lean bulking? You see how crystal clear this gets whenever you're not totally deluded by watching stupid people? This guy says choose the bloat pill. What's stopping you? Good question. This guy says, Hamza, you have a big responsibility here, but just telling people to bulk disregards all individual differences. I've said before, guys, too, I've specified the body fat percentages where you should not be bulking. I'd say for most guys, like 18 to 20%, you probably don't need to keep eating more. You're going to see diminished returns from it. Unless you're like a power lifter who needs just a big belly for your leverages, which again is not going to be 99% of you. Continuing, if your goal is to look good all year, you shouldn't bulk. False. Especially not if you are over 15% body fat. Get to your desired body fat first, and then main gain from you see what I mean, guys? Main gain from there. Bark, Schmucky the Clown, bark. That way you look good all year round and don't need to switch from bulking. Guys, they just parrot this over and over. My God, it's the same thing. You can stick to one diet and just make small adjustments each week to fit your lifestyle. Adjustments each week? So essentially what this guy is saying is you're going to go from a recomp to a tiny bulk to a tiny cut to all this stuff, but it's main gaining. Though you should still gain weight every month. This is unbelievable, because you're building muscle. But 1 pound a month is probably more than you need anyways. That's dependent on the person and their experience. Building 12 pounds of muscle in a year is the absolute maximum if you have 0.01% genetics, are a beginner, and train perfectly. No. How do you guys expect to build 12 pounds of muscle in a year, even if you have average genetics? Let's say you cut that in half for his example and you only gain 6 pounds of muscle in a year with your average genetics, whatever. Unless you're overweight or obese to start, and you have excess energy reserves, how are you going to build this muscle without eating more? I talk about this all the time, guys. These dudes are so gaslit by these influencers, they think that muscle just pops out of thin air. They think it doesn't require mass or weight attached to it. Like, oh yeah, I weigh 145 pounds, brah, and I want to look like a guy that weighs 185 pounds, brah, but I don't want to gain weight, brah, because I don't want to gain fat, brah. It doesn't add up. Then this same dork is back here. I love Hamza's videos and morals, but he is just wrong. I'm sure this guy looks like a pencil. And then here we go again. My definition of main gaining, so now we can make our own definitions of these words, right? That's where we're at. Involves eating a bit more than you need. But since you only gain a few pounds of muscle a year once you are at an advanced level, you only need to eat in a mini surplus. Then maybe 50 kcal more a day is going to be enough. Oh my God, you can't even track that. Also, there is no chance the guy commenting this is anywhere remotely close to being advanced by any metric. You can gain muscle without gaining much fat with it. The advantage of main gaining, or perhaps you would call a super lean bulk, so now it's not a lean bulk, it's a super lean bulk, is that you never need to cut. Muscle is far harder to gain than fat is to lose. If you want to do your Thomas the Train engine, little engine that could, and gain 2 pounds of muscle a year on your main gaining because you want to look aesthetic for the beach and the girls that you look at but don't have the balls to talk to, go ahead, bro. But after those same 3 years, you who main gains, and your friend who does bulk and cut cycles, who's going to be bulking for most of that time, he's going to look way better than you once he cuts down, and he's going to be way bigger and stronger. Not debatable. Oh, but no. This Falshid Gent guy is just, he's so out of touch. When you bulk and cut, the muscle you add more when bulking is nearly exactly what you add less when cutting. So again, that's the dirty bulk fallacy and the extreme cut fallacy. Oh, the muscle you gain when you bulk is going to be lost when you cut. No, it's not. In the end, the difference is pretty minuscule between bulk and cut and proper, with 3 exclamation points, main gaining. No, it's not. Imagine over a 3-year span, the guy who bulks for most of that time gains 20 pounds of muscle. The guy who main gains 6 pounds of muscle. 6 versus 20. That's over 3 times the difference. And the body fat that you accumulate while bulking for that long, once again, it's not going to be excessive if you don't just eat like a pig, which again is a straw man argument people make. Oh, everybody bulking is just force-feeding junk food. And once again, these guys are going to say, oh no, but the main gaining guy could also gain 20 pounds of muscle. Maybe over the course of 10 to 12 years at that rate. Once again, guys, this is about saving time. Do you want to take 10 to 12 years to gain that muscle, or do you want to take 3 years? Because that's what we're talking about here. If you want to be the little engine that could, be my guest, bro, but I can tell you there's way better things to be doing with your time. Potato says, I would rather condense my muscles and build strength than build them bigger. I don't know what he means by condense, but you're not going to build much strength if you never get bigger in the first place. This guy says, however, I'm a track athlete, I do long distance and have been on self-improvement for a year and a half. I have to stay a certain weight in order to make my track completion. Well, yeah, that makes sense. If you're a competitive athlete and you have a weight class, yeah, you're going to have to be underneath that weight class. Plenty of athletes, and you guys aren't going to believe this, I know, because you're 14, they bulk in the off-season, and then they cut during the season. Here's another one. If you watch Greg Doucette, you know that MainGaining is remaining the same weight while building muscle and losing fat because the fat in your body serves as energy for your muscles to grow. And I'm just going to comment what needs to be commented. You mean a recomp? And yet another one, guys. I mean, this just never ends. First of all, MainGaining is not building muscle and losing fat at the same time. It's building muscle while gaining only a small amount of fat. So we go from the recomp to the lean bulk. Second of all, it's been scientifically proven that building muscle while losing fat is possible. Of course it's possible. That doesn't mean it's the best option for most people, especially if you're skinny. It's not going to work. Oh, and this frickin' guy is back. Exactly, and if it weren't possible, then not promoting MainGaining would be even dumber. Eventually, after a bulk, you will need to cut, and a cut is trying to lose fat while gaining muscle. The point of a cut is not to lose fat and gain muscle. When you're cutting, the point is to preserve as much muscle as possible. You're playing defense when cutting. You're playing offense when bulking. If it wasn't possible, why would you do a bulk cut cycle in the first... This guy is just... God help this dude. This guy says, Jeff Nippard vids literally prove it's possible for a large percentage of men. Yeah, of course it's possible, but it's not time effective. So we just keep going over the same arguments, guys. This just happens over and over. I think I'm going to end the video here. I need to probably go to bed and my throat is sore, and also just like, you see what I'm talking about. It's just endlessly the same thing. Oh, but you get to the point that you like your body fat and MainGain from there. Oh, you bulk and you're going to get fat and then you have to lose it all when you cut and all this. It's just the same parroted nonsense over and over, guys. So I would implore you, I always say one thing to try, okay? If you are a fan of MainGaining or however you describe it, because again, it's described as multiple things, keep doing your MainGaining diet for the next 6 to 12 months, okay? Report back to this location in 6 to 12 months, and I want to see tangible proof how much your lifts have gone up, how much bigger you are, etc. And not just people in the comments, oh, I've MainGained and made excellent progress. You can't trust people just saying those things in the comment section, in most cases, unless there's something on their page, right? And even then, these tiny skinny guys love to frame themselves to look really big. You pull them out of the lighting in the video frame and they're puny still. Alright, so I would implore you guys to do this. If you're still on the fence about bulking, long term, if you're somebody who's into recreational lifting, and you want to get bigger and stronger than you are now, and you know you want to, don't lie to me, just give bulking a shot. I have numbers of videos about bulking on my channel. I mean, numerous, probably like over a dozen at this point. Watch some of those. I break down ways to bulk, methods, strategies, how not to overdo it, etc. So just open your mind to this perspective, guys, like I did whenever I was younger like you, and your gains are going to be totally transformed. You're not going to regret it. But this has been it for me. Thank you guys very much for watching. Big shout out, as always, to the Patreon supporters and the channel members. You guys can hit me up in the links down below for online coaching, programs, and consultations to get your own gym progress on the right track. Be sure to check out the Patreon too to get Q&A access with me and join the Discord. And I will catch you guys next time.